Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy, and my guest today is Derek Haynes. If you follow on Instagram, please follow him on Instagram because he's very entertaining. But his Instagram is called The Chocolate Botanist. Derek, I actually met. Well, I attended a workshop that he did back in March through the New England Botanical Garden group, and he taught us about the Vanilla Orchid, which was so interesting. And I was just fascinated and I couldn't get enough. So I started following him on Instagram, and he sent me a message instantly. He's like, "Were you just in the thing?" He's like, "Can I come on your podcast?" And so, it's been a few months, but here we are. Derek, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
I'm so excited. She did meet me. She tried to cover herself, but we met digitally. It was a digital encounter. I loved it. Computer love, as Roger Zapp used to sing about. And I was ever so glad when she was like, "Hey, I'm here." And I remembered seeing your name, and I was like, "Oh, okay, great." And then when I saw a podcast, I was like, "I want to be on her podcast." I'm not rooted in Maine, but I think I'm like the main person to be on a podcast, so get me up here.
Right. And Derek is also a co-host of his own podcast called The Dirt on Gardening with a couple of other guys. One of them I follow, and the other guy I have not followed yet, but I probably should.
You should. Gray is amazing. Urban Gardening with Gray. He is stupendous, a grower in the Texas area. And of course, Andre the farmer is in Florida. Both of them together have about 10,000 acres of land. No lie.
10,000 acres?
Gray owns like a fourth of Texas, including the Alamo. And Andre, you wouldn't even believe this. The parts of Florida that Disney doesn't own, Andre owns. It's the crazy, like Disney and Andre, they go back and forth. And the people are thinking about digging up Walt Disney to fight Andre for his land. I'm messing with you. It sounded real serious.
I'm such a sucker. I'm like, wait, what?
I'm really good at this. And this is off the cuff. I have this not written down at all. And I mess with them for owning land because I live in an apartment. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to take your listeners on that journey.
I mean, that's your bio and everything says, you're very witty and your sense of humor. So welcome. This is Derek. This is what you get.
If only I could show this off in a video, but the shorts are usually so short. I have to bottle myself up. So I love this. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, this will be on YouTube.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
Yes, we fancy. Yeah. So, I mean, the Vanilla Orchid workshop was super interesting, and it was really cool that New Englanders were like, "Hey, do you know about this guy, Derek?" And, everyone was all over it. They were just like, sending you notes and, "Oh my gosh, this is so fascinating. This is so great. Thank you so much." And it was just so fun. It was probably the most fun workshop I've ever attended.
She's now my favorite person.
Hey.
It's like my mama, my aunt and them is like tied to number one. And then like you, and maybe like my pastors above that. We're gonna get this list. You're in the top 5. I love this. That class, you all were stupendous. Number one, thanks to the New England Botanical Gardening
shout out to
folks
them
for bringing me on. But I was a little nervous because it can get a little deep in the class, and I couldn't see the notifications popping in until after. And then when I was like, okay, they must. I was like, ooh, this is a lot. This is a lot of hate mail here. Oh no, they're loving me. This is great. There's no pitchforks on the side of this. This is great. They're pom-poms. I was so excited.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure there were a lot of hearts.
There were tons of hearts. Tons of love, tons of support. And I love that. Ethnobotany should be that. We should be able to talk about the history of plants, however difficult it may be, however ugly it may be, however real it may be, without it becoming a venomous situation.
Right. Well, and I mean, to just to add on to that, I would like to actually, we were discussing before we hit record, like, should I read the whole bio? Because the bio is really, really good. Or should I not? Should I just do highlights? But I think that this is a good time to actually to hit that. So I think I'm gonna read your bio, Derek, because you guys, I think that this is really significant. He's a really, really good bio, and he's a super duper smart guy. So don't mind me if I fumble a little bit. But so Derek's bio. Following in the footsteps of notable Black plant researchers and scientists like George Washington Carver and Percy Julian is no easy task, but Derek Haynes is more than up to the challenge. With a background in plant biology and vaccine and therapeutics development using non-traditional plant-based technologies, Derek certainly practices what he preaches. Plants offer so much more than home decor, and Derek wants to show you how. He understands that the ancient and the modern don't need to compete, I love that part, but rather can work together in harmony, offering viable solutions to pressing questions like food insecurity and mind, body, spirit, holistic wellness. Merging together education, his signature wit and humor, and his keen love for plants and science, Derek's mission is to pull the traditional knowledge of our ancestors into the mainstream. Known affectionately as the Chocolate Botanist on Instagram, Derek has built a community of over 40,000 like-minded people who have come to respect both his incredible depth of knowledge and the palpable joy he cultivates with the subject matter. And I have not looked to see if that 40,000, I'm sure 40,000 is an old number.
It is. It's over 80,000 now. It's over 9,000. It's over 80,000 now.
Whoop, whoop. Double.
It is amazing. Yes, I've worked, because
what
I think
a bio.
Even that number only included Instagram at that point, because my other numbers were quite just small. But I'm so grateful for the people that just really support me, that really vibe with me, that ask me questions, the people that hate, the people that love. I love them all.
Right? I mean, I've heard a lot of people on like Instagram, and you know, when they get hate mail, they're like, "Hey, you know, you're giving me content."
Engagement is engagement, and I will make content out of anything. If I'm feeling a certain type of way, I will turn everything into content.
Yeah. Right. And so, you know, my typical question is like, why are you doing what you're doing right now? Like, a lot of what you're doing is like education, and
Yes.
And it's just, it's so you make it fun, which is, you know, there's a lot to it. I mean, like you were saying, some of it can be ugly, and you know, there's a lot of old history in farming, old history. There's a lot of history in farming.
I went with an old history. I knew exactly what you meant. See, I told you earlier. You were Southern. You're picking it up. You're in it to win it. Keep going though.
But I mean, just the fact that, you know, there's so much history, there's so much to it that we're like, oh, you throw seeds in the ground, but like the ancestral knowledge, you know, that it comes from history, and there's so much that modern farming, modern gardening is. We need to learn from that. That's what I keep hearing a lot from people, like indigenous and ancestral knowledge. Like, there's so much. This is not new stuff, but we're doing it weird. In
Yes.
my words.
You know, I think you're right. So I think the weirdness of it is, I'm going to kind of answer your question backwards. When we talk about the weirdness of it, we act, some of us do, as if plants are not like a thing that have existed for millennia. We act as if horticulture and plant biology are not disciplines that have existed for centuries, right?
Right.
And in some way, shape, or form for millennia, right? We can think of the Linnaeuses, we can think of Punnett squares, we can think of all of these other things that are, again, related to those fields. We can think of people categorizing plants and naming plants and using plants and breeding plants. But when it comes to growing plants today, there are some people who think they've just discovered the new math, the new science of it to do something that scientists already know isn't factual. So when it comes to even us growing plants, there are some people who are on the other end of that who are like, it only has to be this way. So there are people who are like, I created this way with banana water and my electroculture copper tubes, and I'm growing plants in a way they don't want us to know, which is madness. And then they have the other side, the complete opposite spectrum, where people are like, if you're not growing exactly this way, in exactly this method, then your plants won't grow, which is also madness, right? There is some leeway. There are some gray areas that you can have with the science, with the horticulture, with the plants, with the field. And that's why I got into it. I was with a nonprofit in Northern Durham, a Black-founded community garden and a farm, and I was growing Loofah aegyptica, like the loofah you use to scrub yourself. I was growing in square foot gardening. I was growing sunchokes in a 5x10 bed, and I used a square foot gardening method, and I had these beautiful loofah. I harvested maybe like 30 loofah that year. And before all of this went down, when I was setting everything up, I was told repeatedly that this wouldn't work. This wouldn't go. You have to do it this way. Oh, your garden isn't going to be this. Oh, because it has to be this, da 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 da. And I would respond, I'm just a crazy botanist. I don't know what I'm talking about. And one of my sisters, Black woman who was on the nonprofit board of directors with me, was like, you should like brand that and talk about yourself that way. And I was like, man, I don't know, right? Didn't have that vision, didn't have that aspiration for myself. But I later did it, 2018, and here we are now, right? This is what, 8 years later?
Yeah.
Amazing work. And I rebranded in 2020, talking about myself during the COVID era as a single chocolate man, a single chocolate botanist. And people just loved it. And another Black woman was like, hey, you need to rebrand. Like every big move I can say I made has been because of a Black woman, which is just phenomenal.
Right.
So I'm here to talk about science. I'm here to talk to people about how to grow. You don't have to do the traditional methods, but there's also some non-traditional methods that are just nutso. They're not rooted in anything. So they're just giving you something that looks cool and makes you feel a certain type of way, but they're just feeding you lies and folly. And my platform just exists to dispel that. I want people to grow plants. I want them to have access to science. I want them to be able to feel the facts and not feel intimidated by science in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Well, and so you said traditional methods of growing, and that just made my mind wander a little bit. Like traditional is as in ancestral? Traditional as in like what we do, what a lot of people do now, like the soil, the compost, what is exactly is traditional gardening?
You know, that's a very good question. Nobody's ever called me on that before. You better be podcasting. Traditional as in row crops. So the people who I was working with are Black people who are from the South here in Carolinas, and they are used to being in that point in their 60s. In their late 50s, I think at that point, because that was a while back, they were used to their parents who grew in rows. You mound these rows up, you put your seeds in the rows, and that is how you grow. And maybe you grow something between the rows if you want to be a little, freaky sneaky. If you want to be a little wild, maybe you plant between them rows, but you mound it up. Maybe, who knows? But let's not be too wild here. Let's not party too much where you're drinking seltzer water at this point. So put them in here and then keep it moving, right? And me with my leveled out bed, I mixed like cacao shells in there. It's amazing how this worked out because I wasn't even a chocolate botanist then. I had cacao shells, like chocolate shells from a chocolate factory here in the Triangle. And I mixed them into my soil to kind of beef it up, and it added this like nice mycelial layer because I had it over top of it and I mixed it in and I let it overwinter over top and no weeds grew and it was this beautiful thing. And they were like, that's not gonna work. And that was the best. My bed outperformed everybody. And of course I'd bring my own water and like fertilize heavier than everybody else's, but my bed performed. And I didn't do row crops only this way, only in this method.
Right. Can we back up though? There's a chocolate factory in North Carolina.
I mean, at least one. So this is it's not like a big like Willy Wonka factory,
right?
But it's a like high scale Videri is what it's called,
Oh man.
Videri. And you can go there and get like chocolates that they made. And it's like stuff that tastes like with a hint of orange, because it just is how the chocolate is processed. Stuff that tastes like this and that and the other. And they have like ice cream and hot cocoa and stuff like that. But they actually take the cacao plant and they break it down. They take this is a cacao bean, like the giant, the cacao pod here.
Okay.
And this is from the flowering plant of the cacao, and this is like covered in mold because, again, I've had it in my refrigerator. Life has been lifing for me. I've not felt like doing much of anything. Like, existing is hard when you've had loss like I have and experiencing experiences. But inside of this are the beans that you later grind down and process into cacao. So this outside husk, they take it, grind it down, and they sell it as a mulch.
What are you doing with that?
That one I was going to turn into chocolate for a video, but then Derek forgot because he bought it after his grandmother passed, and that was like 2 months ago. So we're going to see if I actually still do it. I've not been, I've not been in the best place I want to be, and it's okay.
Okay, so you can make chocolate at home from a cacao pod. I totally like. I feel like there was like I heard that there was like a fermentation process.
It is. So you have to ferment it. You ferment it in like a mason jar covered in like a cloth. Once it's fermented, you take it, you clean it off and you roast it. Once it's roasted, you clean it off and grind it or like winnow it. There's a special machine you can get to make like the actual smooth chocolate like you get from the store. And at that point, when you're like grinding it, you can add like milk fats or milk solids and sugar and whatever you're going to make it to turn it from like, if there's nothing added to it, dark chocolate, to some level of, dark chocolate or milk chocolate. Yeah.
I feel like that should be another workshop.
I want to teach a class. So funny enough, I was depressed because my grandmother was sick. She passed, Linda B. Gadet. She passed April 1st of this year. And I wrote a class. I appreciate you. She was a real good woman. She really believed in me. I wrote a class talking about chocolate because I want to teach classes. This is for any of you who are like, I can get him to do a class. I wanted to do a series of classes where I talk about like the things you would take to have, like some of the treats we enjoy today, like sugar, coffee, rice. We got vanilla already, chocolate, and what it would take to get those plants. And really like a deep dive like I did on vanilla, but even a class that's separate of like, how far back would it be before I can't get a chocolate bar? How far back would it be before I can't get easily a cup of rice? How far back would it be before I can't make cupcakes because we don't have sugar and we don't have corn over here? Like, all these plants were separately in the world, right? And now through the magic of technology and transportation, we can ship everything everywhere, right? But there was a time where people were making corn flour and people were making just wheat flour, and then somebody over here had sugar, and we couldn't make, pancakes and flapjacks and corn muffins. Like, those are the things I think about, but I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent.
I'm not sorry. Especially the fact that you were like, we could go deep on that. I was like, there's got to be some like intense history regarding cocoa or cacao, know? So, we don't need to do that today, but that would be super fascinating and like really, really, really good workshop. I think if anybody has any connections, let's hook Derek up, because I think that would be so good. I think I pushed us off because I was asking about that. But that's true. I didn't really. I assumed that it would take several of the pods to make like a good amount of cocoa, but I don't. I've never done it, and it's so odd looking on the inside.
It is. It's so gooey and mushy. I would crack this one open, but then I'll get stuff all over my hands. But it's like white moldy and gooey and mushy. Well, it's moldy on the outside. It's probably not on the inside because it's mushy and white on the inside. And it doesn't look like at all what chocolate looks like.
Right.
And the process of it, I feel like one bean makes like enough chocolate for like one person. Like if you as one person are like, I really just want a little bit of chocolate, like you can get some. But
how long does it take for the process? Because it's got to ferment. Like
the ferment is a week, and then the roasting, and then the depending on if you're using like a traditional, like an actual grinder,
right.
which can take sometimes 24 hours, or if you're just doing like the quick blending and pulsing, which you can do, but you don't get like a smooth chocolate, you get a gritty chocolate. I did a lot of deep diving because short attention span, and it's what I do. And I went deep into it before. I was like, it'll take me like 2 weeks ish, like start to finish, and then.
So I'm feeling a craving for some chocolate.
You should have started. You should have started around Memorial Day. You should have been like, let me go ahead and get this chocolate set up. Happy Decoration Day to the people who passed and their lives were given to protect us. Let me go ahead and start this chocolate. And then boom, today I can eat it.
Right.
We were talking about my origins and how I got here. See?
Thank you.
I took us right back. I'm here with it.
Yeah. And so we were talking about origins.
We started about chocolate because we were talking about the classes. We were talking about the classes because I was talking about non-traditional growth methods.
Yes.
We went into non-traditional methods because we were talking about ancestry, row crops, don't be too crazy, seltzer water, growing basil in between. I was with a nonprofit in Northern Durham. That's how I became the chocolate botanist, talking about the chocolate. Boom.
And there you have it.
And if when you rewind that back, you'll be like, oh, he did it almost in order.
He really did. You really did. That's impressive. That is really impressive. So, all right. So now we have that, and and why? So what is it exactly that you're doing right now? I mean, other than working, like your Instagram, I mean, you're on other socials as well, but like your social media page is education. Yes.
It is an outlet. Okay, and then she said, what are you doing right now? We're doing this. Let's go ahead and rewind. What am I doing right now? So what I'm doing is scientific communication. I'm gardening communication online. I'm on all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Google+, MySpace, Yahoo Messenger, Ovo, Skype. If you look at a carrier pigeon hard enough, you'll see a picture of my video on them. And I'm getting out information about growing. Most of those was made up. I knew I had her with me until the carrier pigeon. She was like, wow, he does a lot more than I knew. I love this. When I figure out I can
Google
trick somebody.
Plus, what?
When I figure out I can trick somebody, now I have to.
Right.
So I'm like, this is like, I must.
She walked right into that and she said that she's a sucker.
Yeah, she didn't have to say it. Once I seen it, I was like, you're like, are you serious? I was like, yep, got her. Hook, line. So I'm doing a lot of educational content on the internet. I talk and teach. I go to different plant cons, plant events, plant shows or whatever. And I talk about plants, and I make sure that we can have discussions on plants. Garden clubs, the gamut, right? And I do that because I want people to have accessibility to me as a scientist. This is why I answer everybody as much as I can, because I want people to have accessibility to science. And there are a lot of people who will never see a black scientist, much less a black plant biologist in their world. I've met some others who I've met, and there's a small number of botanists I've met in this world. But I do all of those things. In my day job, I work in like pharmaceuticals. I'm doing like documentation and quality and other stuff, right? But this work on the social media is my truest vision of what I would be doing in my world, one of at least, because I am able to showcase, again, plants to the people, and I'm able to showcase how successful you can be with plants. There's been so many people who have come to me like, oh, I can't grow, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I've apparently gave them plants at some point, and then they say, Derek, look at this picture of this plant that you gave me, and I never remember it. I'm like, it looks like something I gave you. If I dig through the soil, I could be like, okay, this is a mix I put together, but I don't know, especially if it's a pot I painted. it's a pot I painted. Oh yeah, that's definitely me. But it is again my passion to show people plants and to let them know about this thing that is my world.
Okay. And I mean, what do plants mean to you? I mean, really? I mean, I'm sure this is a really big question, but like,
It is.
why plants?
Why plants? What do they mean to me? So I got a story for you. I grew up in the mean streets of New Bern, North Carolina, 252 all day. In eastern North Carolina, New Bern was one of the former capitals of the state. It's the home of Pepsi, the home of the You've Got Mail. If you've seen like A Walk to Remember, any of those Nicholas Sparks books, I went to high school with one of his children. So it's like a home of famous people and yours truly.
Speaking of famous people.
Plants. Yeah, famous people. I'm throwing myself out there. Wikipedia should go ahead and add me up there. But that's a whole nother story for another day. I grew up loving plants. I grew up having a fascination with plants. I grew up loving science and having a fascination for science. I would watch the Magic School Bus and the Captain Planet show and the Bill Nye the Science Guy and Beekman's World, and I would be like, science, this is it. And when it came to plants, it was just like there has to be something in these plants. In middle school and elementary school, I'd be like, there's the cure for cancer in probably these plants, and we're just stepping all over it and cutting it down. Like, I would read these science books, these deep science books, and I would just love to learn. And I still do. I still love absorbing knowledge. But again, the plants, they are a intrinsic part of our world. Like when you say why plants, I say why not? They feed us, right? They clothe us. They take the air we breathe out, the poison we breathe out, and turn it into air that we can breathe back in. Fungi included, they can clean the environment. There's fungi that have been used to clean up or remediate oil-laden stuff. Fungi that have been in like Chernobyl eating radiation. There's plants that have been used for medicinal purposes. Your pharmaceuticals that you enjoy have a plant-based precursor. They came from plants, right? From aspirin and salicylic acid from willows, from the natives who inhaled the dust of the burnt plant or would chew on the leaves of the willow, right? Who would inhale the dust of the burnt bark, right? To taxus, the taxus species, specific yews, right? Who have Taxol, the plant, the drug made from it, that's a chemotherapy drug that is used now.
Wow.
That is something used now. Plants are a part of our world. Drugs, medicines, medications, music, they built the states, right? They are the reason that I'm over here. Plants and racism, right? I should have been in Africa somewhere living with Prince Hakeem and Zamunda or in Wakanda and being over there forever. But because of cotton and sugarcane and rice, that moved my ancestry from somewhere in Western Africa to over here. So like the plants are so big, and it is historicity, it is religiosity, right? The purging with hyssops, the anointing oils that were used, different religious practices that require burning of plants, people smudging stuff with sage who don't really practice those processes, people who are doing hoodoo or voodoo and using certain plants as part of those traditional African religious practices. They're just everywhere. Plants are and fungi are everywhere in our world. And I would dare a person to figure out a way that they should not know about them, to understand them, and to make them their why as well, no matter how big or small it is. You had a second part of that question, and I was trying to pull it back up, but you said why plants, and that's all I got. I just went off of that. I can't remember the second part of your question.
I don't remember it either, but I love that story.
See, this is why I'm grateful to be here, and I'm vibing, because see, on the Dirt on Gardening, I actually have to pay attention, and I'm the man in the background running the tech. Well, I'm running the tech, so I got to make sure people are on the screen, off the screen, on the screen, off the screen. I'm reading YouTube comments. Hey guys, we're supposed to have an ad placement. I have not been able just to be a personality on a podcast in so long. that I'm like, I have to do this more often. Anytime you need me, you let me know. I'll come talk to you about anything. And I will just come up here and vibe and not pay attention, especially if I can throw you off. This is great.
I do it all on my own, Derek. All right. I mean, I love that. I mean, I think it was just, my second question was really just like, I mean, it was on along the same lines. Like, you know,
Okay.
you have the science background, you have the plant background, but like, it's always just like a, you know, why did you choose plants of all the things? Why did you
They
choose
called to
plants?
me.
And of course you just said that, but you know, that was the main question. If there was a second one, I don't even remember what it was. But
Okay, I'm loving this. We are having such a fun time. I'm here for this.
and then so I just and so you grew up. Did someone like inspire you? Was it your grandmother? You said your grandmother really believed in you, but
So
did someone inspire you in the plant direction or science?
not, I mean, now she supported me in the science direction, but her and my grandfather, my whole family did. But there wasn't like really like a plant person. Like she grew a pothos that was like 30 or 40 feet long. Pardon me.
Feet?
She used to, yeah. It was
So,
like, I remembered it would just go from the pot and just go around the cabinets in the kitchen. And it
okay,
was just so long. I don't remember why that thing died. I would ask her, but her and that
right.
pothos are together in heaven. The that was a little dark. If you cut that out, it's okay. Um, she had a trade scantia, a purple queen is the other name for it, or an inch plant, or a wandering dude.
Okay.
She had that in a pot, and she loved those plants. My great grandmother apparently loved plants, but by the time I was born and can like remember stuff, I wasn't seeing her do plants. But there wasn't anybody like we have plant people in the family. There's apparently some cousin or ancestor who had like they at a family reunion in the 90s they gave him like the George Washington Carver Award, and he used to have a plant shop in New Bern. But I never met him, and my family was like, "You can go and meet him." And I'm like, but y'all said he has dementia and we never met. So what does it look like me going to the old folks home and being like, let me talk to this man who doesn't know me and who has memory issues and ask him about his history. But my grandmother,
Well, he might have remembered
we,
that.
he might have. I could, but I'm also like, I feel like this is a setup for me to walk in here. Yeah, I'm his cousin. And how are we related? I don't really know. Has he ever seen me before? He probably seen me when I was 6.
He
So he
says he's my
definitely
grandson.
yeah, he
Yeah.
says he's my grandson, and he's asking me for money or something. Like this is just seeming like a
Right. That's
setup. You
how
know
that
what I
would
mean?
go.
Yeah, and I'm like, I didn't ask him for money. Now it's my whose word against whose, and then I'm in jail, and we don't want that. My
No.
grandmother would buy like the Scholastic Book Fair stuff, like any of the science things I wanted, any of the books I wanted, she would purchase. There used to be some tape series on VHS. I really can't remember the name of it, and I wish I could so I could find it on like YouTube. And it would be like animals, and they would just talk about different animals or plants or science. And I think it was by like Time or something.
Hmm. Not like
The
the Nova
magazine.
series.
It could have been the Nova series. It was somewhere in the 90s where it was like, we're going to talk about all the animals of the jungle. And it would be like, somebody somewhere knows what I'm talking about, dang it. And they should help me. Magnifying glasses, those magnifying scopes, like the microscopes, all of these things that look at stuff she would purchase. And my grandfather would purchase because they believed in like, doing this. Um, and my random experiments around the house, they would just deal with. It wasn't really a supporting of that, except for the one that blew up in the house. But I learned after,
For that. Oh, we're
except
just
for
gonna
that one,
skip
that
over
was
that.
we're gonna hop over that one. We're not gonna go in deep into that story. I was very much in trouble after that, but it was a success in my book because it was going to. I knew it was going to be a bomb one day. I just didn't imagine when I went to school that day it would be a bomb. But it's okay. Um, you know, it was just a plastic bottle and some fermented stuff. I've been fermenting since I was 6. I have more
Wow.
fermenting experience stuff since most people ever have.
Okay.
So I failed a lot, and that was a big failure. So
Well, that's
yeah,
part of science, though, right? Like
it
that's
is
part of
it is
the learning.
it is. I learned never do that again. Um, I had so much fun back then too. So that was my support, but it was mainly just being a weird kid. I was a weird, eclectic, potentially neurodivergent, sciencey kid, and I just love science and love learning and love being like, ooh, I can do that. So yeah.
I like that a lot. I saw I saw a reel that you did not too long ago, and you would like totally debunked something where someone was like, no, you're supposed to do this, and I don't remember the details because I'm 53. But but it was really cool because I'm sure a lot of people would, comment on your stuff or like send you messages and be like, so I heard that you can do this, and you're like, whoa, that's way out there. Let me tell you why that's a bad idea from science. And that's what I like about it, because people, and I assume that people do that with you. They're like, hey, I heard about this. Is that, how does that work? And you're like, that doesn't work. Don't do it. But do people send you messages like, how does this work? Or, I heard that you can do this.
So some members of my church will be like, Derek, brother Derek, I seen da 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 da. And I'm like, no. My aunt will my mom's youngest sister will try to ask me like questions from y'all's cousin Hamilton in his videos. And I'm like, so you see that I'd make videos dispelling him all the time. And you're like, well, is this true? If he made it, most likely it's not. There's some things he did as legit, but you made it, probably not, right? And there's some people who will tag me and stuff or DM me and be like, okay, what about this? Or I don't understand this. And I love being able to help people, because sometimes I have to look it up myself. Sometimes I do know, and I don't know exactly the why. Sometimes I just know it doesn't work, and I have to look that up, right? Mm-hmm. But it is something that I often get, and that's where I started really making that content. I had a sister, and again, another Black woman, who was like, Derek, you should like dispel these and like be, your personality. And I was like, oh no. Because like off camera, I'd be like, this is stupid, and let me tell you why. This is that, blah, 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 blah. This don't even make sense. And this, like, if you rewind it back, and I could do it in person, you rewind it back, they changed this, right? And I'm like, but I would never do that to people in real time. Like, I would never make a video about that. And I'm grateful I started, because those people have no shame in lying to get accolades. They have no shame of presenting themselves off as a master of a skill that they don't have.
Right.
In order to get money. And in the plant world, people don't question anything. You could say this cures this fixes this grows this, and people just like, yeah. And I can't stand it. So
yeah. I mean, people are so hungry for cures and fixes, and and there are so many people that are like, ooh, I'll tell you what to do. I don't know for sure, but I'm just going to say that and you'll believe it, because it's the internet.
It's the internet, and it's the end thing, and it seems like it works because I don't have any knowledge of plants. I don't have any knowledge of horticulture or science or agriculture. So of course this works, because that person said so, and it makes sense to me. But I'm like, I need you to stop and see, do you actually have the information? Yeah. Right? It would make sense to a 5-year-old that and I'm not telling these people that they're 5, but it would make sense to a 5-year-old that for the Thanksgiving dinner, I can just put the turkey in the microwave. Why can't I? I microwave everything else. We microwave popcorn. I microwave ramen noodles. I microwave a Hot Pocket. Hot Pocket goes in and comes out. Why can't I microwave
a whole turkey?
A whole turkey, right? The people in the millennials remember the turkey microwave that somebody tried to do on the Flavor of Love, and it didn't work. And that's what we try to do with some of these plant hacks. We try to do a microwave fix for a slow cooker or oven solution. And it doesn't always give it. There's some cases where I can do that. If I want to sterilize my soil, I can make a solar oven outside. I can put it in the oven and have it on a low and slow. Or again, you get like an old Instapot, an old electric pressure cooker, and you just cook your stuff. It gets real hot. It kills everything in the most cases. And you can do that. Or you can do a chemical route with like peroxide. I have like 30% peroxide in here, and I can just do that. There's some cases where I can do those things. If I want like a quick fertilizer, or calcium fertilizer, I have eggshells. I can grind them down, which I have. I have vinegar. You mix them up. You put some water in there. It bubbles. and now the calcium is released and it's immediately available for my plants. There's some cases where I can do it. In other cases, it's just not feasible. It doesn't work. There's no scientific pathway. There's not a shortcut there.
Yeah. Can I ask a question about killing the soil though? Or
yeah, go ahead.
Sanitizing the soil?
Anything. Yes.
I mean, I get you said if there are like nematodes in it, you definitely want to kill those, but aren't there are like microorganisms in the soil as well, right?
There are.
So if you sanitize or cook it, you're killing that as well.
Everything out.
Yes. Yeah.
So your soil should be like a busy, teeming city. Think of any city that's busy, that's big, that's bustling near you. For me, it's like Raleigh, the Triangle, or Charlotte. And it should be like that, teeming with life, something to do. People are doing this, diverse, right? It should be diverse microorganisms, diverse macroorganisms, earthworms, various bacillus strains, fungi, all the gamut, bacteria, everything, mites, bugs, all of the gamut, right? But if there is a disease or something that is a problem to my soil, I could hope to use something that may balance it back out. There are some microbial inoculants that I could use to hope that enough of the good guys would kind of beat out the bad guys, right? Yeah. And take off the resource, because they would take the resources that the bad guys would need and then they would die off. But in some cases, we just have to be like, hey, I got to drench this soil in this chemical. And I know chemical could be a bad word to some of y'all, because some of y'all are like, I don't use chemicals. I just water my plants with a chemical, which is water. But but it's something where, again, sanitizing that soil can be beneficial, but it's sometimes my last resort. Like if it's like I have no other way, I'm just going to go ahead and bake this and go from there.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a last resort, and that makes sense. But typically you want all the living things because they work together. Yeah.
They do.
Okay.
They help your plants absorb those nutrients. They make those nutrients available for your plants. They keep space. They hold space so bad things don't get in. Like if they hold space in a way where the organisms that have been, transplanted in from other spaces, other soils, other organisms outside, other parts of your yard, right? They become part of the world of that soil. And when the bad things come in and block them out, it can just be terrible, right? And some people would say, like, can I just freeze it instead and use ice? I wouldn't trust ice, but I would say go ahead and put some heat on it and go from there.
Okay. All right. Do you have a favorite plant, Derek?
Well, I don't like to say that in front of all my plants.
Right? I know.
If you say which one is your favorite.
How about like a plant family?
See, most of them are in the same family. If I say the favorite one, then the rest of them will die because they'll be like, oh, you like monsteras? Well, I'm the alocasia in the house.
Right.
Drip, right? But no, all of my children know I love them. I grow a lot of aeroids, so I do a lot of monstera, synganium. There's another genus that I had at one point, but I can't remember. It looks like synganium, but it's not, and I feel like it starts with an N. Epiprenums, which are pothos, rhydophoras. I'm missing one. Philodendron, monstera, rhydophora, epiprenum. I grow them, synganiums, a lot of houseplants. I have some orchids. I have a fairy castle cactus. Like, I really love aeroids. They just really do me right. I have a clivia, and she's not really a livia right now, but I love the aeroids. And then outdoor, and I have a couple of ZZs too, and
I don't even know what that is. ZZs?
Zamaculus zamifolia.
Oh.
I don't have one behind me, or else I'd grab it.
Okay.
You've seen them, I'm sure. They're houseplants. You've seen them before. And outdoors, I love mints.
Yeah.
I love mint. So I have berries and cream. I recently bought stevia horehound. It called to me. The horehound did. Because if dogs were looking for me, the type of dog you would need, it's okay. I was going to finish it, but I was like, she's so into the story. When you look back at this transcript, you are going to be amazed. She's such an active listener. I have stevia, I have orange and apple mint. I have berries and cream mint, and I have Kentucky kernel mint. And then I also have some flowers. I had a lot more flowers I used to grow, but my planters were inside when they were doing the patio, so all of those died. But I have some iris outside and some sunflowers. I love flowers. I love herbs. And I have mint and lavender and rosemary. I love things that smell good. I love flowers. I love beautiful striking leaves. I love all types of things. I used to do roses on the patio. I love tea roses, like the Chinese tea roses, the herbal, like heirloom ones. I love those. And I love a good tomato. And I have a watermelon that came up, so we'll see what happens.
Ooh, that sounds so fun. I also love mints.
What's your very, and I got a lime mint out there too. What is your variety you love?
So my ex-husband's mom gave us some apple mint.
I love apple
And
mint.
oh my gosh, it's so delicious. And I know people say put it in a pot in the ground so that because it will spread. And I'm like, let it spread because
and
gosh.
It's so that one isn't as aggressive as the typical mints though. They're not like apple is not as aggressive.
We had huge patches, like 10-foot circles. Circumference. That's and we had a few patches like that, and they were like 4 feet tall, and the flowers were beautiful, and I would just
you made the best syrups.
Oh, I didn't do syrups, but I would just like dehydrate it and use it as tea, or I would use the fresh leaves in hot water to make tea. And if anyone was ever looking for mint, I was like, don't buy it at the store. Like, come over. Like, I'll give you a wad. Like, how much mint can you take?
I love it. I used to give out so much Kentucky kernel to a woman in my neighborhood. She was like, your mint smells so good. And I'm on the second floor. She was and this was during COVID. So it was an older woman. And I wish I got her name information. And she was like, I bet you can make the best mojitos. And I was like, I don't drink. But if you do, it's like, she's like, I can make a mint julep. And I said, well, take as much. I was like, here you go. And I would cut, because it would grow so big, I would fertilize so heavy. And I would cut so much and wrap it up and just drop it to her. And be like, here you go. And she would come by maybe once a month, and I would just give her a wad of mint and be like, enjoy. And she was the best. She was really nice. I don't know what happened to that woman. I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a gift because it does grow like that, and you can just give it as a gift, literally. And there's nothing better than mint tea when it's, I don't know, any time of day.
I love it. Mint tea, mint syrups, all of it. I love it all.
Gosh. You want to move to New England?
Look, if you could come down yonder, we get a
Dude,
house
I
in the
was down
neighborhood.
yonder, and I can't do the heat.
And that's the thing. I know it is quite hot, but there's nothing better than just getting out on the patio.
What was the first thing that you said to me when we got on here?
I was like, it is so hot. It was very hot because I was like, I am on fire right now. But I love it. I would always rather be hot than cold. If there's any situation where I'm like, it's below 20 for 2 days in a row or a week in a row, I don't want it to walk in this. I don't want it. I want it for a day. Like, I want a snow day. That's it.
Right.
And then go away. Get away from me.
Yeah. All right, fine. Not New England.
I'm telling you, you come down yonder to Durham, and it's hot, but you'll get your heat legs on. You'll be okay.
I don't know. But I love this. I just think I think it's so fun when something brings somebody so much joy. Like, it's infectious. It's hard to resist that, and it's hard to not just love it when someone is just, I mean, like you said, like, it just brings you so much joy, and it's so refreshing. So thank you. I want to know what the word sustainability means to you.
Okay. Sustainability is the ability to use what you have to get what you need. And that's an old African American proverb that I think exhibits how sustainability is a part of our culture. Sustainability is a part of our culture. and how it is reflected in the actions I do. I reuse soil continuously, right? I may add fungal inoculant, some compost, bokashi, earthworm castings. I have earthworms going through some soil in the bedroom now. I need to eventually bag up some soil. See, if you were here, you'd be like, you give me all the apple mint. I would be like, boom, here's soil. We're trading. I got people sending me seeds and everything. We would have no needs.
My gosh.
But it is literally that. So like, I recycle soil. You don't have to throw your soil in the trash. Like some of you are like, well, who does that? There are people who do that. There are people who are like, well, I'm done with this, and they throw it away. And they never reuse that soil. I reuse old pots, or I give them away to people. Like when I'm like, hey, here's a cutting of this. Pots that I get from nurseries and plant shops, here you go. This is now growing my cuttings I'm going to give away because it's a pot and I don't have to do anything with it, right? I can literally use what I have to get what I need. But the podcast I'm on, the content I make is recycled. I'm not spending time making new content when, I mean, not as much as I could be, when I'm just going to recycle the stuff that I have every day. And I'm going to put new content out on top of it. You see multiple posts from me on all my platforms within a day. Who has all that time? Somehow I do, but it is that. Sustainability is me saying to people like, let's figure out how to make this work. You know, you want to grow this. You have this much space. Can we do it? You have this much effort. Can we do it? Like, I've helped people plan out gardens and dig up gardens and go and buy plants and repot plants to give them what they're looking for. This is the plant you're going to have in this space, in this part of your yard. Great, let's do it. You know what I mean? But it is literally that. It is literally using our resources in a way to give us more providence, using what we have to get what we need.
I love that.
Thank you.
And I also love that you paint your pots when you give them as gifts. That's the nicest thing.
It should be, it's something that I believe, like if it's a ceramic pot, I'll get a plain one or whatever. Terracottas, sometimes if they look nice enough, I'll just leave them be. But sometimes I'm like, these people don't want this terracotta like this. Let me get it up. I know some of you are going to be in the comments like, they cover up the holes and the pots can't breathe. That's how they're typing. But the truth of it is, there are some people who have never grown plants before, and if it looks snazzy to them, I did it personal. There's no pot in the world that looks like that one. But also, it hopefully stands out enough where they remember, gasp, I have this thing I have to water.
Yes.
Now, sometimes I think it works too much because some of them I feel like overwater. I'm like, hey, water this once a month. And they're like, nah, he meant once a minute. But I overwater. I get it. This is how I started mixing my own soil. I overwater. I love to water plants. I love watering plants.
I just think I worry about them being thirsty.
See, and here's the thing. They'll tell you. And I know this as a whole plant biologist. I know that they will know to tell me when they're thirsty. Leaves will droop. My plants outside, I had a video recently about my patio. My leaves were drooping. My plants were looking a little rough. Y'all are thirsty. The water pressure isn't keeping your leaves up anymore. You're dropping. Let me go ahead and water you. Right? But I started doing that because I love to water. When I worked in the industry, we need somebody to water these 100,000 plants. Okay, I got it. Well, Derek, do you need any help? No. Well, Derek, somebody can give you a break. I said no.
I got it.
Derek can flick the person in the forehead. They walk off. Like, get away from me. Don't ask me no more questions. I got it.
Stop asking.
Don't ask me, and I would just do it. I loved it. Even when we had the automated stuff,
Zen,
it was great. But
right?
It is so zen. I plug in. I have the water hose, and I'm just like, yeah, this is it. Y'all are good. Y'all are watered. It's a mindfulness activity.
I am your person.
Yes. I am literally, y'all are all my children, and I am here for you. So, yeah, I started doing that because of that, and I started mixing soil because I overwater, And I started painting pots because I just wanted to give them something that was personal. One of my love languages is gift giving. So I really love giving out a good gift and being like, here you go. This is something thoughtful. And it may not be $10,000, but it's something that's priceless to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a piece of you. That's wonderful. Tell us about the podcast, please.
The Dirt on Gardening podcast was started on a whim over a year ago. Andre the farmer, phenomenal guy, Andre Baptiste in Florida, he was live on Instagram just talking, and he was in his comments talking about something, or in his live talking about something. He was like, oh, Derek is this great guy, follow him. He dispels all these stupid plant hacks, da 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 da. And he was like, hey, if you're not too busy, can you jump on? You're asking me to be ready to talk? Of course I can. So I jump up there. We're having a ball. His buddy Graylin Brown, Urban Gardening with Gray, jumps on. I had already talked to Gray about some other stuff before that. And we were just talking for like an hour or two. Just shooting the breeze, talking planting and men stuff and being black and all this other things. And we were like, this was great. We have to do this again. And we started literally doing originally YouTube Lives or Instagram Lives. We later moved to StreamYard and doing like YouTube and Instagram and being on both of these because we were trying to like do both platforms on different devices. And I was like, guys, there's a better way. Like we can do this right now just to see proof of concept, but there's a better way. I know technology. And we have been doing this, again, over a year. We're now on all podcast platforms, Apple Music, Apple Podcast or whatever, Spotify, Amazon, all of them. And I love it. And we have all sorts of guests on there. If any of you are like, hey, I'm really planty and I know this subject or whatever, come on up. And again, it's beautiful.
I'm really planty.
I know you are. You know, we talked. Y'all keep your eyes open. If Amy comes on, then that means she accepted. That means she accepted and she was like, let's do it. So again, we've been doing that, and that's the Dirt on Gardening podcast. We're live on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Podcast is available all over the world, 44 countries across the world. And it is amazing. Counting. We talk about all, and counting. We went from like 3 to 44. And again, we've only been putting this up on the podcasteries since maybe February or March of this year.
What?
So we've been growing, and I'm hoping that we get more growth. I think we have like over 1,000 downloads or something.
Congrats.
The numbers, thank you. The numbers are very confusing to me, but I'm a plant person, but I love what I'm seeing. So it's beautiful. Y'all tune in and hit us up.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And so the best way to find you, Derek, I know you gave us like a million different places, but then you said you were kidding. So where are you actually?
Now, the best way to find me is to stalk me and to be outside of my door.
I'm inviting all stalkers.
I'm inviting all stalkers to figure it out. The first person who finds it wins a baseball bat. I'm not going to tell you how.
To the face.
But I want you to know you'll win it depending on what you look like. You may not win it if you look pleasing enough. When it comes to finding me on the internet, I am the Chocolate Botanist on all platforms excluding Twitter. I think there I'm just like Crazy Botanist or something like that because Elon Musk wouldn't let me put the chocolate because it's too many letters. So I'm the Chocolate Botanist on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. There we go. And then there's my website, thechocolatebotanist.com. If you want to email me, if you're like, hey, I want you to be here, there, and the other, email me at Derek@thechocolatebotanist. And I'll go to a show. I'll be on any podcast. I'll be on any platform. As long as you're respectful and you're being like legitimate, I'm down to go anywhere. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm grateful for people to feature me. And I'm grateful for Amy giving some patience and grace to me to feature me. Right. Because I'm really grateful for this. You don't know.
I'm
so
thrilled.
Find me in all those places. Thank you. You find me in all those places.
Awesome. All right, you guys. So check out Derek Haynes, the Chocolate Botanist, and go grow something.